ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं गुरो श्रीयुतकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च। श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणा रघुनाथं मितं तां सजीवं सादेतं साधुतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखावितं च हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोदे तप्त कांचन गौराकी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वर्षभानुसुदेवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाचा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्णा. Welcome to this discussion on Bhagavad Gita as it is. Right now we are in chapter 5. We are in shloka number 24. We discussed shloka number 24. And the main focus here is by fixing the mind on Paramatma, Karma Yogi attains liberation. And specific to shloka number 5.24, we had studied in relationship with the other shlokas which convey a specific flow of thought. And that specific thought, flow of thought is surrender, inner joy, compassionate action, spiritual perfection. That means in 2.72, the main focus is surrendering to Supreme Personality of God. And then um, one rejoice, one gets rejoiced in this feeling. So, and so 2.72, 5.24, 5.25, and 6.15 together portray the complete evolution of spiritual life. Gita's Brahma Nirvanam is not void but awakening of divine consciousness through surrender. Then we realize and we become compassionate. We want to share this with others, and then we engage in the service of the Lord in His abode. So Srila Prabhupada reveals that the liberated life is not achieved by rejecting the world, but by transforming our consciousness within that world. When our heart turns completely towards Krishna, the already uh, soul already works in material world, but it has the experience of the kingdom of God, and it tastes the peace, joy, love that that has no end. So in that stage, that is the stage where liberation is no longer a destination. It is our existence and our eternal life service, or active service in service of the Supreme Lord. So Nirvana means not end, and Nirvana means end of material existence, end of material existence, and Brahma Nirvana means simultaneous revival of spiritual existence and end of material existence. Buddhists they generally talk about the candle light. When we blow the light of candle light, the fire goes off, the light goes off. So when we die, uh, everything ends. That is what Buddhist philosophy talks about. But actually, our temporary existence ends. Buddhists claim that our temporary existence ends and we enter into void. And this is nirvana according to Buddhism. But the Krishna conscious point is that though the candle is put off, the energy is still there. This energy that lighted the candle in the first place is still there. This energy will continue to exist. The energy will get transformed into some other form. This law of conservation of energy and law of transference of energy is applied here. So when the body dies, the candle is put off, the consciousness does not have the material form. So it is only the material form that gets um, disappears, but the living disappears, and the soul, which is the energy, is still there, and it gets a new material form. And this energy, the soul, is conserved till it gets it is conserved during its passage from one body to another, and it gets a new body based on its karma. So this energy gets transformed from one place to another. It is not that when you put off the light, the body dies, it doesn't mean that the soul also dies. Soul is preserved, the energy is preserved, and it is transformed into a new body, which is based on the karma of the soul. In the case of devotee, the consciousness is transferred to the higher level of existence, and that is the spiritual existence. This is revival of consciousness in spiritual existence. Krishna is actually making a point that by turning inwards, one gets into spiritual existence. So you need to look into it. So if you look at the shloka 5.20, yo anta sukha antaramas, actively enjoying within, as well as Antarjyoti, aiming within, certainly anyone, a mystic, Brahma Nirvana, liberation into Supreme, Brahma Bhuta, becomes self realized. So, one whose happiness is within, who is active and rejoice within, whose aim is inward, is actually the perfect mystic. So, he is engaging in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which starts with hearing and chanting the holy names of the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining the factual experience. What is this factual experience? Unless one is able to relish happiness from within, how can one retire from external engagements meant for deriving superficial happiness? A liberated person enjoys happiness by factual experience. He can therefore sit silently at any place and enjoy the activities of life from within. Such a liberated person no longer desires external material happiness. This state is called as Brahmabhuta, attaining which one is assured of going back home, back to Godhead. So, what is this factual experience? When a devotee is happy, it is factual, it is real, it is not imagination. Devotees are happy, singing and dancing. They are all bright faced. It is not an imagination, it is reality. What makes them so happy? What makes them so bright faced? This is because they are happy in reality. Happiness is not an imagination. No, this happiness due to association with Krishna is reality. The soul, when it comes in contact with Krishna by association of the holy name, the person experience higher happiness. That is why devotees are so much active to get up early in the morning, around 3:50, take bath and attend Mangalarti, because that gives them the happiness. And then they chant the holy name of Lord for next, after Mangalarti till Darshanarti, they spend time 1.5 hours to 2 hours in chanting the holy names of the Lord. And they avoid eating any other food other than Krishna Prasad. So this type of engagement is possible only when there is a factual happiness that a devotee experiences. And Krishna also says in chapter number 9, Raja Vidya Rajagohyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyaksha Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyaya. The activity related with Krishna is a king of knowledge. king of knowledge, Rajavidya. It is Rajaguhyam, it is king of all secrets. Pavitram, it is purest of all. Uttamam, Uttamam means the best of all knowledge. Pratyaksha Bhagavantam, as you start practicing it, you will experience it. Susukam Kartum Abhyam, and it is not that you will feel tired of doing this. You will become happy. You will like to distribute books. You will meet people who are really very bad, and they do not treat you well when you distribute the book. But still, devotee likes to distribute more books because there is a happiness associated with this. Okay, so so when devotees are active, it is factual. Srila Prabhupada, the devotee, Srila Prabhupada actually is writing that a devotee can silently sit in one place and chant, and enjoy the activities of life with it. What does this mean? So actually, this he can sit in one place. How? What does this mean? It means that devotee can sit in one place and chant the prescribed rounds of Krishna. He will sit in one place, read Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. He will sit in one place and plan activities for festival, book distribution, preaching programs. These are all activities of life. And by doing this, there is no material benefit that devotee gets. Okay, so there is only one thing that he gets by doing all this. Materialist people also plan, they also sit in one place and prepare for exam, but that's all for a material gain. But here, Krishna devotee does this only with the sole purpose of satisfying Krishna, and this intention gives happiness to him. This gives him a deep fulfillment. It doesn't need anything external. Devotee is generous, so he wants others to also become happy, and hence shares this experience with them, makes provision by which others can also experience the higher happiness. So devotee gets a glimpse of spiritual happiness, and hence he wants that more and more. He yearns for it more and more. This happiness is what inspires him to continue in the service of the Lord. This is usually drawn based on memories of some wonderful kirtan that the devotee experiences, or darshan of a beautiful deity, or an inspiring lesson in the classes of Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. Thus, the devotee's memories, which is usually filled with a recollection of past sense gratification, gets replaced with Krishna conscious memories. The memories of association of sense objects like opposite sex, karmic food, cinemas, sports all haunt us sometimes. These memories are replaced with our devotional memories. The unfortunate thing is that our memory cannot stick only to Krishna conscious events. It can easily switch to sense gratification. That is why we need to consciously cultivate Krishna conscious memories. Sometimes we may get exhilarating spiritual experiences. Sometimes we just completely forget it. Sometimes we get brilliant insight from the Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita classes. We may like to make a change in life from one of the points in the classes. However, in just one day, we forget about all that. We must cherish these points internally by remembering them constantly, and externally by noting down those brilliant points and implement in our life. These are like treasures. This is our treasury. Ultimately, these points are to be internalized, and our memory has to become our treasure. When we have fixed sadhana, then these experiences become more consistent, more frequent, thereby internalizing them become very natural. So that is why we need to have a scheduled sadhana in our life. In course of time, these points and experiences become persistent and stay for longer duration. Eventually, this moves us to a constant feeling or constant experience. This is a steady state, spiritual, emotional state. It is called a Sthai Bhava, and this is described in Nectar of Devotion. When we are in steady spiritual emotion, the material emotions do not disturb us. This will become steady pathway to spiritual perfection. And Krishna is stating this, that this is becoming going to become a spiritual perfection. Krishna is stating this in multiple places. Here he is also stating it. So such a person is liberated from material existence and he is reinstated in Brahma Nirvana. So this Brahma Nirvana state is a ceasing of material existence and simultaneous awakening into spiritual existence. So this is what we need to understand from this shloka 5.24. Now let us go to shloka number 5.25. Labante Brahma Nirvanam Rishaya Shina Kalmashaha Chinna Dvaita Yatatmanaha Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. So, those who are beyond the dualities that arise from the doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all living beings, who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. So, if we go to the presentation, you can see here the inner joy is there, and this inner joy, devotee wants the inner joy which he gets due to constant practice of sadhana, the devotee wants to share with the others. So this is a compassionate action. So this shloka 5.25 says those who are beyond the dualities, that means they are situated in a sthayi bhava and arrive and there are no doubts. So they have a fixed sadhana and they are engaged in devotional service of the Lord, and then they make schemes how to celebrate Krishna Janmashtami, how to celebrate Gaur Purnima, and invite people, serve them prasadam, organize abhishekam of deities, which others can come and have a darshan of and become interested in devotional service. So, like that, the devotee starts engaging the others and by sharing so by sharing the the spiritual experience with others. So this this 5.25 is part of if you see the set of 5.25 is part of the last part of the Bhagavad Gita chapter 5. Okay, so Krishna is telling that how a yogi can attain liberation by fixing the mind on Supreme Personality of God, that is Paramatma. So the focus of the discussion is the redirection of our pleasure seeking potency from matter to spirit. So from outwards to inwards. So that is where we are right now in the flow. Um, if you see the shlokas, if you see the shlokas from 5.20 to 5.25, a person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant. So, like if we see the summary here, 5.20 talks about a person who is equipoised in pleasure and pain. Um, so he comes to the spiritual platform. So a person by practice, the yogi by practice of this, he comes to a spiritual platform. And in 5.21, Krishna is saying that one should be detached from the material pressure, then one can attain unlimited spiritual happiness. So that is the main point. He has to. get detached from material pressure and get attached to the unlimited spiritual happiness. And in 5.22, the basis for detachment from the material pressure is understood that there, if it is pregnant, the material desires are pregnant with miseries. An intelligent person does not take part in source of misery which are due to contact with material senses. O son of God, such pleasures have beginning and end, and so wise man does not delight. So 5.22 gives us a glimpse of what is the miseries are pregnant with, no, the material pressures are pregnant with mysteries, and they are temporary in nature. And then in 5.23, Krishna is talking about the desires may come. It is not possible to completely rub off desire, erase desire. Desires will come, but we need to tolerate. And in 5.24, no, Krishna is telling us that we need to turn inwards and delight in inwards, and we achieve Brahma Nirvana. So this 5.20 to 5.24 are like a part of a cycle. So 5.20, if you see, it says Brahmavid Brahmani Stitaha. Brahmavid means one who knows the science of God is already situated in transcendence. So it starts there, and if you see 5.24, it is, let's see, 5.24. Brahma Bhuta Ati Gacchati. So that means one quickly achieves, achirena ultimately attains the supreme. So what does this the person who has reached the Brahma Bhuta do? That is what is explained in 5.25. So person has to understand the temporariness of the material world and material pressure. This material pressure is pregnant with miseries, and these desires are always there. It is not possible to completely erase them, and we need to tolerate. But then we need to focus inwards. That means we need to engage in devotional activities of Krishna. Inwards means instead of focusing on engaging in our own sense gratification, we need to engage in service of Supreme Personality of Godhead. This turning inwards gives us delight and makes us situate in Brahma Nirvana. So when we are in Brahma Nirvana state, what happens? Those who are far beyond the dualities that arise from doubts, whose minds are engaged within, who are always busy working for the welfare of all beings, who are free from all sins, achieve liberation in the Supreme. Achieve liberation in the Supreme. So, what does a person who has reached Brahma Bhuta do? That is what is done. So, he is beyond the dualities. His mind is engaged for working for the welfare of all. So if you see shloka number 5.17, if you see shloka number 5.17, Krishna says, Jnana Nirudita Kalmasha Tat Buddhayas, intelligence, mind, then the faith, and also the we take complete um, shelter of Supreme Personality, complete surrender. When we do that, our intelligence are cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge. So, jnana nirudita kalmasha. Our there is a complete cleansing of our knowledge. So, this one, Srila Prabhupada is translating jnana nirudita kalmasha as fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge. Then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge. Thus, he proceeds path of liberation. So, misgivings are synonyms to sins. Such a person works for what? Such a person works for the welfare of all people. So, if you see 5.17 and 5.25, 5.2 says, Rishaya Shina Kalmashaha. Rishaya, one who is free from all the sins. What does he do? He works for welfare of all people. Sarva Bhuta Hiterataha. So we need to understand what is the theme of this verse. The point is that a person who is working for the body's purification, his liberation, is not selfish, but he is working for welfare of all. The person who is working for the self-realization is the one who works for welfare of all. So when he works like this in service of Krishna, slowly the misgivings are clear. So here the mean and the means and the goal are same. One who is freed from all the sins, work for welfare of the whole, and that is by engaging people in service of Krishna. And when we work for Krishna, by engaging others in welfare of in their welfare activity in service of Krishna, then also our misgivings get erased. So the person who is working for self-realization is the one who works for the welfare of all. This line, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha, it is also used in 12.3 and in one more place, 12.3. एत अक्षरमनिर्देश्यम् अव्यक्तं पर्युपासते सर्वत्र गमचिन्तयं च कूटस्थम् अचलं ध्रुवं सन्नियमेन्द्रियग्रामं सर्वत्र समबुद्धयः ते प्राप्नुवन्ति मामेव सर्वभूतहिते रताः. But those who fully worship the unmanifested, that which lies beyond the perception of senses, the all pervading, inconceivable, unchanging, fixed, and immobile, the impersonal conception of absolute truth, by controlling various senses and being equally disposed to everyone, such person engaged in the welfare of all at last achieves me. So this is talking about impersonalists. Here it is talking about all pervading. So this is talking about the Brahman realization. So, and if you see the next sloka, 12.5, क्लेशस् अधिकतरस्तेषाम् अव्यक्तसक्तचेतसाम् अव्यक्ता हि गतिर्दुःखं देववद्भिः अवाप्यते. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Lord, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always difficult for those who are embodied. So Krishna is making a point that even the impersonalists have to work for the welfare of the people. This means the person who is focusing on the unmanifested, impersonal feature of the Supreme has to work for the welfare of others. Therefore, devotees have to definitely work for the welfare of the people. In there is one more shloka, 12.13 and 14. Advesta sarvabhutana maitra karuna evacha nirmamo nirahankaraha samadukka shukashami santushta satatam yogi yatatmana drida nischaya maya arpita manobuddhi yomad bhakta same priyaha. So, what is this shloka? This shloka is telling one who is not envious but is a kind friend to all living beings, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, who is equal in both happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination, his mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee is of mine is very dear to me. So devotees see all the living entities as parts and parcel of Krishna, children of Krishna. He considers that we are all one family. The devotee thinks, how will Krishna be happy when some of his parts and parcels are suffering? So the devotee endeavors to bring those living entities also back home, back to God. Impersonalists are also compassionate, but they are not so personal. The reason is that the ultimate reality is not personal. Thus, their emotions are not personal. Sarva Bhuta Ite Rata is stunted um, at a level, and there is no discrimination among the various living beings. So, irrespective of whatever be the living entity, they are compassionate towards them. They should discriminate. He is my friend, he is my enemy. They have equal vision towards everyone. They have equal benevolent attitude towards everyone. The point is that both personalists and impersonalists engage in welfare of all living entities. So, so what is the qualification of these people who are engaged? What is the qualification? The qualification of the people is Rishaya Shana Kalmashaha. These people who are engaged should be free from all misgivings. Rishaya Kalma, who are beyond the dualities, who are minds are engaged within and who are free from all sins. So this is the main qualification. These qualifications are very important to engage in the welfare work. And why this is important? Only this status helps them to know how to do welfare activity. At one level, welfare work seems very simple. Say, for example, if a person starves, we give him some food. This shows compassion of a living being to another. Deeper understanding is that the problems plaguing the society is not that simple or shallow. The people are suffering from hunger, bereavement, because of complex network of greed and exploitation tendency of the people who have who are no, who are fueled by the wantonness of everyone. So they want everything. And it is this exploitation tendency and greed which results in sufferings among the people. The have nots are also part of this because they do not have self-restraint. They also have greed and they also have the exploitation tendencies. So have people and have nots both have greed and both have exploitation tendencies. The beggars, when given alms, instead of buying food, they buy alcohol, they buy intoxicants. Thus, welfare activity requires the understanding what is the real welfare activity. The greed and wantonness derived by unrestricted, unregulated intelligence in pleasure is self defeating, and this needs to be curbed. This is possible only by attainment of higher spiritual happiness. Unless a person experiences higher spiritual happiness, the person cannot give up lower happiness. If he give some donation to a beggar, he will use it for spoiling himself by taking alcohol or intoxicant. So unless he knows how to apply that money in service of Krishna, any benevolent welfare activity we do for him is of no use. So unless a person experience a higher happiness, the person cannot give up lower happiness. The person cannot do good to others at all. The exploitative tendency may come up sooner or later. So initially he may look benevolent, but he will have the tendency to exploit. So even if there is no exploitative mentality, only compassionate mentality, we do not know whether it is certain that how he could help or how he would help. One person may want to help a sick person, but if the person does not know how to treat a sick person, how much help can he do? So, unless one person is really understanding the problem, it's not possible for him to help. So, the sick person is the person is sick because of his lust, anger, greed, fear, and illusion. Those who are free from these contaminants and those who know how to take care of people who have these disease can only give the best care. Thus, the rishis and yogis who are internally active and who are free from sins, misgivings, rishaya china kalmashaha. So they are free from lust, anger, greed, fear, and illusion. They only can help others. This is the qualification for helping others. This does not mean that those who are generous enough, compassionate enough, noble enough to want to help others, they can naturally do whatever others can do to help others. This tendency to help others with some level of selfishness is to be appreciated. There is selfishness whenever noble person, generous person, compassionate person does a welfare activity. However, this help is not complete, it is not holistic, it is not sustainable. As long as we help at the level of body, we are not really helping anyone. As long as the anarthas, non-meaningful, unmeaningful things are present, the tendency to mislead, degrade, and hurt people will be present. This anarthas always direct people's consciousness away from spiritual reality. It is this spiritual reality where lasting happiness exists, eternal happiness exists. So the people who have this compassionate tendency are to be guided to redirect their consciousness to the higher consciousness. So benevolent people must be given Krishna consciousness and they must be given knowledge of the higher spirituality. That is why we have to distribute Prabhupada's books. This redirection of understanding the higher spiritual reality helps them to come out of the infatuations from the worldly things. This will help them to do good to others, and they will also be able to receive good from others. So this is Rishaya Shina Kalmashaha. So a benevolent person is benevolent only when he understands what are the meaningful things in life, what activity is a real welfare activity. So if you see the purport here, a person engaged only in ministering of physical welfare of human society cannot factually help anyone. Temporarily for external body and mind is not satisfactory. The real cause of one's difficulties in the hard struggle for life may be found in one's forgetfulness of his relationship with Supreme Lord. When a man is fully consciousness of his relationship with Krishna, he is actually a liberated soul, although he may be in a material tabernacle. So distributing Srila Prabhupada's book is the highest benevolent activity because it establishes the knowledge. Whoever reads this book, he gets a knowledge of his relationship with Krishna. So you will understand what is the highest level of, highest level of happiness, spiritual happiness, and hence he will become a devotee and he will become Rishaya China Kalmashaha. He will become freed from the misgivings. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindhuvayavcha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Tantraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.